Imagine you have a GPS and you set the GPS when you were 22, 23 years old, right? It's going to a certain destination, the path is set for you, and you're following the GPS. You're following it for 10 years. And then 10 years later, you're still on your way to the destination, or perhaps you've arrived, or perhaps you're close, right? But suddenly you don't want to go to that destination anymore. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because it's been 10 years and you have changed a lot during those 10 years. And you don't want to go down path A, you want to go down path B, or maybe you want to go down a path that you don't even know what it looks like. Think about all the experiences you've had. Think about all the failures and successes you've had. Think about the values that might have changed over those years. Think about every person you've met. Everything that's happened in that time has slowly, very gradually, so much so that you didn't realize for a long time, all of those experiences have slowly been changing you and shaping you to, I guess, veer off the path that the 10-year or the 22-year-old, version of you set on the GPS. So it makes sense that you don't want to get off at that original destination anymore. But often when this happens, we're met with so much confusion because you start to wonder, and this happened to me. You start to wonder, what is wrong with me? Why don't I want the thing that I wanted anymore, especially when I'm so close? Or in many cases, you get the thing, right? Like you arrive at the destination, maybe you get out of the car, and you're kind of met with this feeling of, now what? Or was this it? Or, yeah, I just don't want any of this anymore. And that's, one, so normal. Secondly, it is something that I think happens to a lot of people, but it's a very, again, confusing place to be in, and you have to really work through figuring out why. I also believe that because these changes happen so gradually, it might not be 10 years, it could be 5 years, but it could also be 10, 20 years. But these changes happen so gradually, and probably a lot of the time your brain or yourself is trying to keep you on the same path, right? You might have little nudges or little signs along the way that, for example, things like, maybe there's something you don't want to do that you used to enjoy doing. Maybe there are conversations you used to like that you don't like anymore, or tasks that you used to like that you don't like anymore. But I think for a while we write those signs and signals off because, again, we kind of know where we're headed, especially if you're a goal-orientated person. But eventually your conscious mind is going to catch up to your reality, right? Because I think it takes your conscious mind a long time to grasp all of this, and it catches up. It's not going to be, again, overnight, but it's going to be through a period of, say, confusion, being in the messy middle, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, then your reality doesn't match what your conscious mind it wants. And then you're like, wait, I'm at this destination, but my mind doesn't want that. Now, all of this happening doesn't mean that you are no longer an ambitious person. I don't think ambitious people lose their ambition, but I do believe you can set yourself a new target. You can redirect yourself to a new type of ambition, a new shape of ambition. Obviously, a new definition of success as well. I think success and ambition can often be very closely tied together, and something that you once deemed successful at one point in your life is no longer what you deem successful at another point in your life. And that, again, is so normal. Let me share some examples with you of what I deem to be my old ambition versus my new ambition. And the contrast is big. So for me, old ambition was about recognition. It was about hitting milestones. It was definitely a little bit about validation. So feeling validated when I hit certain milestones, when I got recognized for certain things, especially when it came to the people I worked for and the people I worked with. I guess it was many ways a little bit externally motivating. It was about what I could say that I did. It was about how I could talk about what I had achieved. And of course, it was about things like the amount of money I made or the titles that I had and things like that. Whereas now, and it's taken me a few years to figure out all of this and why it's all happening, my new version of ambition is about freedom, creativity, self-expression, alignment, ownership, and meaning. By meaning, I mean meaningful work, spending my time in a meaningful way, having meaningful conversations, meaning in every respect. That's a really, really big one. And I've been thinking a lot about what does meaning mean? Actually, this book here that I'm reading at the moment, Flow, that's probably why it's in my head. It talks about the meaning of meaning and the making of meaning, and how you find meaning in your life. Meaning is a big one, especially in the world right now. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out what meaning in their life is, because a lot of us are grappling with not finding meaning through that old route we set in the GPS, through the careers that were built for ourselves, and a lot of the traditional ways, I guess, of making money or making a life for yourself and being successful. So what is the point of this video? I don't know. It was really just to sit down and talk about how I'm thinking about ambition changing and redirecting, and why it's a very, very good thing. Because if you compare, in my example, my old ambition versus my new ambition, I actually believe it almost requires you to be more bold, more ambitious. It pushes you even more to figure out a new path for yourself than to just stick to an existing path. It requires you to take risks. It requires you to think outside of the box. Maybe it requires you to develop different skills. And I think that's actually a lot more ambitious than just sticking to the thing you decided some time ago. I think we're taught that we should stick to the thing we set out to, that consistency towards reaching a goal is what success is. But in fact, I think maturing, perhaps becoming wiser, is actually admitting when something is no longer working. I think that requires so much more bravery and boldness and understanding of yourself as well. So I guess the question to ask is not what's wrong with me, why am I feeling this way, am I no longer motivated? But I think a better question to ask is, where is my redirected ambition trying to take me? Where is it that I should now go from here? Anyway, that's another rep done. I've got 29 reps to go, so I will see you for day 3 tomorrow.